Hey guys, this is Chelsea Shaffer and this is The Score. This is the Team Roping Journal's venture into the world of podcasting. On this show, you'll be able to bring the Team Roping world's movers and shakers on the road or to the office with you. They'll be telling stories and talking through some of the issues facing this sport. As the editor of the Team Roping Journal, I'll be your host. Hey, Tara.
Hi, Chelsea. How's it going this week?
Oh, it's good this week, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 6 of The Score.
Yes, we're at episode 6. And for those of you who have been following us from the beginning, we're on iTunes, SoundCloud, and now Stitcher. So make sure you head on over and you can listen to us on all 3 platforms.
Yeah, and if you haven't been following us from the beginning, head back, listen to the first episode with Aronson and Jenny. It's still one of my favorites, and kind of binge listen. I know everybody's getting ready to drive to the World Series, the U.S. Opens, and hit the rodeo trail, so there's lots of time to be listening in the truck.
That is right. So, Chelsea, what's going on this week?
Well, this week we've got an episode with Ryan Motes, and Ryan and I recorded it in his kitchen. He was awesome and gracious at his photo shoot. And so it is a really fun kind of personal chat with Ryan, and I'm excited for everybody to hear it. But before you do, when you get your July issue in the mail, I want to make sure you know to look at your July issue of the Team Roping Journal. In the back of the book are the U.S. Finals entry forms. You've got to check out the cinched national finals of team roping entry forms. There's a lot of changes, a lot of new stuff, all for the ropers, and that is in the July issue of the Team Roping Journal.
And where can they get a copy of the Team Roping Journal?
You can, if you are not a USTRC or World Series member, you can go to teamropingjournal.com and subscribe. It's also on iTunes. It's on all of your digital platforms. And you can call 866-343-1801, and you can get a copy of the magazine over the phone.
All right, without further ado, take it away.
Yep, enjoy this episode with Ryan Motes. This is episode 6 of The Score. Okay, hi Ryan.
Chelsea, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful.
Where are we?
We're at the house here in Weatherford.
Your house and your arena are so stinking beautiful. I feel like you've got to feel so accomplished in your life.
Well, no, it's nice. It's something that we use every day. So we use the house and the arena every day. So all my friends and family, it's a big you've been over here. Everybody's welcome to come rope. Everybody, when we're done roping, we come eat. We do. That's kind of how we do it.
How did this become like such a gathering place? Was that all? Have you always been so social?
I don't know. We've always had a lot of. I've got a lot of friends around here, and that's kind of where everybody's come to rope, and they know me, and I know them real well, and it's kind of nice. I can call Seth or Garrett or anybody up, and they know as much about my roping as I do, so it's pretty neat. But it's just the same thing. Their kids are like my kids, and they they bring their kids by here. We do everything like that, and it makes it fun. We rope, we eat, we have fun. So every day we dang sure work, but every day we try to have fun.
So you grew up half in California and half in Texas, right? Mm-hmm. So tell me, where were you born in California?
I was born in Fresno, California. My mom's family, had a ranch there, and I grew up there till I was about 11, and then moved to Texas when I was 11, and we kind of moved down here in the cutting horse capital, I guess, and that's kind of what we did for a little bit. We foaled out a lot of mares, we still do, but that was kind of our base when we moved here and what we did to make things work. So
what was it like being the son of a world champ?
It was cool. I have memories, from the BFI and Oakdale being a little kid, that's why I said you're a little kid at the BFI, and you hear somebody's name, whether it's Jake and Clay, or Alan Bach or anybody like that, and you go run into the deal, and you watch Walt Woodard and those guys. Every time they're up, you run over and watch them rope, and you go right back to roping the little fast lanes, and and playing around up there on the concourse, but it makes it fun. But no, I mean, it was great. I roped with him my rookie year, and it was a big advantage.
But your mom's side of things, the cutting horse side, was huge too.
Right.
And talk about, I mean, a lot of horsemanship have you kind of borrowed from the cutters?
Quite a bit. Winston, my stepdad, I mean, that's where a lot of my horse training knowledge.
And your stepdad's full name is?
Winston Hansma is my stepdad. And, I mean, he's one of the most accomplished cutters there's ever been, and a horse trainer of any aspect. And so that's where a lot of my horsemanship knowledge has come. Obviously, I feel like roping's a good part of what helps me do good, but I feel like horsemanship for me, I can't compete on a mediocre horse. They better be pretty good for me to catch on. So,
yeah, right.
But for me, I mean, horsemanship is 90% of it. Roping's it's easy to rope if you can put them in the right spot.
And I feel like, I mean, you've got Starbucks, who needs no introduction whatsoever. Rockstar would be like any other person's number one, right? Yeah,
and he's kind of, he's kind of developed into my go-to kind of horse, I guess. And Starbucks is 20 this year, and I mean, looks great, acts great, completely sound, but he gets picked and choose on where he gets to go. Try not to just. He loves to go with us. I left him home last year when we went to California, and when I got back, my mom, she'd pulled blood on him. She couldn't figure out what's wrong with him, and he was just mad he wasn't with us. I left my mare with him, Goldie with him, that they live together, so I thought I'll just leave both of them. They'll be happy here. So this year he went to California with me. He got rode at the Brock Cresta Pro-Am, and he's been to a couple unofficial rodeos out there and stuff, but he's gotten a little bit older, and he's still great. He's still sound. I'll ride him all the good stuff through the summer quite a bit, and I'll go back and forth. Last year I probably split it 50-50 from June on. In the winter, we ride him around. We exercise. We go check cows on him and do stuff like that. But it's as he's gotten older, it's harder to keep him in full game time shape, I guess. And so we just do all kinds of different things on him. But through the summer, he's ready to go. So we'll crack him back out come June, and he'll be on the tour.
That's awesome. Now, Starbucks and Rockstar, full brothers. Full
brothers, yeah.
Okay, how are they bred?
They're by a mare called Carry Me Starlight, which is a mare that my mom had raised and won third at the Snaffle Bit Futurity, and I don't even know what year that would be. But she's by a mare we'd raised, and out of C.D. Olena, which is the horse that Winston had won. He won the Futurity on and was the horse of the year in 1994. And it was a really good combination off those two. I had a lot of really nice horses out of that mare, and I've had a lot of really good C.D. Olenas too.
And so your family stud is C.D. Lights.
C.D. Lights is C.D. Lights is a stud. It's obviously a C.D. Olena on the top, and he's by a mare called Delight of My Life, which is a mare that also was raised by a man in California that when we lived out there was who kind of mentored my mom on the cutting, named Floyd Boss, and that's where our horse's name comes from. But we got Delight of My Life as a very young horse and essentially raised her. And Winston went on, he won the Super Stakes on her, and she'd won a ton in the cutting horse industry. And so City Lights is the first foal or first colt out of that mare by C.D. Olena. So they kind of both had a big influence in both of the two, and our stud City Lights, which is nicknamed Boss, named after Floyd Boss.
Is she gone, that mare? Long gone?
The mare is no. City Lights mom is still up here. She's 26. She looks she looks like she's 14.
Is she still having colts?
Nope, she's retired. She lives up there. She comes in at night and out in the day, and she looks great. Starbucks mom and them has passed on probably 5 or 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. But no, she's 20. She's got to be 25 or 6, and she looks amazing. So
they say, somebody once described this to me when we were at a photo shoot here, as this is a heel horse factory. But you don't. It's not like I don't see a lot of guys saying, "Oh, I got this horse from Ryan Motes," or you don't buy and sell a ton of horses. You're not like.
Oh, we sell a few. We try to place them a lot, and we train heel horses every day is what we do. For us, I normally every year I sell a heel horse, and every other year I sell a head horse. Is kind of how we do it. That's how Courtney and mine deal works. So we try to pick and choose what we have, and like I said, we try to place them a lot more. Everybody says, if you're going to sell them, why would I buy them? Well, sometimes they're ones that just don't fit me as good, or we've sold several. I've got some friends of mine that have really nice heel horses that's what they like to go. I've got a lady over here. She's got a really nice horse, Hippie, that we've had forever, and she loves being a ladies' horse. And she didn't, I don't think she would have enjoyed a life with roping with me roping on her every day, or somebody at the top level. They go, they cruise, they have, and she's a great heel horse. I've won a little bit on her, and she's the one on all the roper photo shoot pictures and stuff, but she was a really cool horse, just wasn't, she wasn't cut out for the rodeo thing.
Are you a mare guy? I mean, you've had one really good mare.
Goldie's great. Yeah, I've got a really good mare. She's CD First Light's her name. That's the oldest offspring by our stud. And so, no, I don't know what I am. I'm a sorrel horse. I like solid colored horses. I don't like all the flash. I like solid colored geldings. Get along better. But no, mares. I've had some. Obviously, in any other industry other than roping, mares are probably more popular. And they're gritty. They've got the guts and stuff like that. And in the rope horse deal, hopefully with a fraternity. Things kind of picking up, and some of the things that Jay Wadhams and Dean have been doing to help with the breeding programs for the roping, but primarily nobody breeds roping horses, so it used to in the cutting industry, if you had a gelding that had won a lot, it was kind of a nowhere to go with them, or if you had a mare, that was a great setup for a breeding program. With the barrel horses, it's a lot the same too. With the roping, it's still been a little bit behind on catching up to that, and so I don't think it's quite caught on to the breeding thing. And I think a lot of people like geldings. Geldings are definitely more popular.
As far as the breeding side of things, I mean, you guys are breeding mostly intentionally cutters, and the rope horses come by accident, or?
Yeah, most of my good horses have come out of one mare called the Carry Me Starlight mare, and then another mare called Shorty Benina Lena, which was a Shorty Lena bred mare, and I've had them by various studs, various everything, and a lot of my good horses have all came out of those two mares. Everything here gets started as a cutter. Courtney and I have Goldie's sister. She's a dual ray mare, and everything gets started as a cutter. I kept that my sister has an older brood mare of hers now that they won quite a bit on, called Light Rays, that won a lot, and I've got a 5-year-old that I kept a heel on because he seemed like a heel horse. I don't know why. Tucker Robinson has the 4-year-old. They cow horse on him. R.L. Chartier, who's married to my sister, he won the world 2 years ago in the cutting. That's who he's got my 3-year-old for my sister. So we've got a 3-year-old black filly in training up there to cut on, and if she works out, they're gonna show her. And we've got a 2-year-old, and then we just had a baby last week out of that mare. But everything gets started obviously primarily to cut, and from there we kind of figure out the avenue they go to. If sometimes if they're going to cut, that's where they go, especially the mares. If it's a gelding, we kind of place them from there. If it's something, I kept a 5-year-old that would have been great as a cow horse, that I thought was going to be great as a heel horse. So,
what do you see in a cutter or a cutter prospect?
Well,
ends up a heel horse. Like, what are the things that you?
A lot of times, as a heel horse, you want them cowy. As a cutting horse, you want them extremely, extremely cowy. So sometimes a lot of the best reject cutters, is the most popular term, that aren't quite cowy, that are extremely broke and those are the ones that seem to make the quickest turnaround. Some of the horses that aren't as athletic or aren't as well broke, it's still a long path to the rope horse deal. A lot of times it seems like the ones that when you put your hand down won't quite lock on as good and get a little bit lost here and there. With the heeling, you can help them a little bit, and they normally still have the big stop and still have a lot of that kind of training to them.
Did you have any? You had horses in the futurity last year, right?
Yep, I showed a shiner named Sue out of a sister to our stud that was a green heel horse that Winston showed him at the snaffle bit and the horse did well several years ago. And part of me keeping my 5-year-old back was the futurity. The hopes. That's a great deal. It's a good deal for horse trainers for younger horses. I think it's a great crossover for a cutter and a reining cow horse, anything of that sort. Because if they hit the 4 or 5-year-old year as a cutter and they're just mediocre, once they hit the 5 and 6-year-old year, it's tough, and the same thing with the cow horse. So I think it's a good crossover and a good way to go with some reject type, not even rejects, nice cow horses, nice cutters that don't really have anywhere to go.
So you've name dropped a whole bunch of bloodlines so far in this conversation. What's your favorite, other than CD Light from CD Light?
No, a lot of our stuff goes back to Gray Starlight mares, and we've had really good luck with Gray Starlight mares crossing on a lot of anything. I am a big fan. I think studs mean a lot, but I think the mares, very good mares produce a lot of really, really good horses, and I think that the mare, puts quite a bit in, into the upbringing of the colts and stuff. And like I said, I think good studs obviously produce tons and tons of good horses, but good mares, I think, is where a lot of it comes from.
That's awesome. What kind of mares? You have a lot of Gray Starlight mares around here.
Our original stuff went back to some Gray Starlight mares. Our Courtney and mine's brood mares, a dual ray. A lot of stuff that we crossed on our stud is some hotter bred type horses. We breed several. We breed a lot of Shining Sparks to our stud, stuff like that. Our dual race, same type of deal. It's been a good cross. We've had a lot of really nice horses out of her. But we've got quite a bit of a variety of brood mares, different breeding types, and like I said, the mares that have always been good have produced well too.
Switching gears a little bit. What did you learn in 2016 about the sport of rodeo? And when I say 2016, since this is a podcast and people might not, there's no link you can click to know what happened in 2016. I guess I'm talking about the ERA.
No, I thought it was good. I'm still super excited. I'm proud to be a part of it, I guess, type of a deal. It was great for me. It was a good time for me to be able to be home and spend more time at home.
Yeah, you guys built your house, kind of.
Yeah, we had a busy year. Probably my busiest year we'd had for quite a while there. And, we'd been driving our wheels off, it felt like, for 5 years in a row there, some of the best 5 years I'd had. But I was due for some time at home. And I think that's the one thing that with rodeo, there's no downtime, even trying to figure out a time to do, whether it's clinics or schools or photo shoots, I guess. There's, it's so hard. There's no downtime. And for me, in the winter, I like to go to the big rodeos. I feel like for me, it's hard to get amped up about going to a little rodeo. We're going to one tomorrow, and it's pretty hard to be overly excited about going to something like that. But the big rodeos, I don't know, it just kind of fuels the person, and big ropings is the same way. And I feel like as many rodeos and ropings as we go to throughout the year, it kind of becomes a a Ferris wheel of it just goes from one day to the next, and next thing you know, you're just going, Monday you just wake up, there's 6 jackpots, and within a couple hours of Weatherford, and there's 5 of them within 45 minutes this week, and it's like, and that seems like kind of what you get to doing. And I think bigger rodeos are great for the industry. I think more big rodeos is what a person needs, not just necessarily more rodeos. And whether that's the ERA or the WCRA or whatever it is that helps produce it, whether that's, I think Calgary's great, I think Houston's great, I think the American's good too, and I think just the more big opportunities for rodeo athletes that they can have, the better off things will be, and I think the more chances you have at winning a lot of money, none of them are bad, no matter where they come from. And so I think, like you said, I think it was a great experience for me. It was a great year for me. Obviously, the ERA didn't pan out as well as we had all hoped it would have. I still think it had a good purpose in the sport of rodeo, and I think it maybe helped set things back in line a little bit and kind of back to maybe a shift of momentum kind of towards, like I said, I think for so long big rodeos were almost frowned upon, and trying to grow anything like that. And I think big, in the team roping world, we all are probably more accustomed to, but big ropings are great, and that's what, people's careers are built off of. Clay Tryon's won the world 3 times, but think how much he's won in the team roping, the jackpot world. That's astonishing, the amounts like that. And so big rodeos are amazing too. Driggers with the American, golly, that's
built his place.
Is that not amazing?
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
For things like that, the more chances we have at big money, the better off everybody can retire. And then, hopefully rodeo becomes a spot where you don't just kind of quit rodeo and start working. You can actually, maybe it'll never be to the lengths of, the NBA playoffs here and what these guys do, but kind of get to a spot where, a person can actually slow down a little bit and not, it kind of, like I said, it can become kind of the rat trap, and you get stuck in the middle of it and over and over and over again. And if you don't have a very good exit strategy or an exit ramp, that's kind of just what you do. It's just starts in Denver and it hopefully ends in Vegas.
Yeah. Have you always been good about money? Like, are you going to be able to slow down and ease off from rodeo?
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. I have rodeoed longer than I thought I ever would. I have, kind of originally my plan was when I turned 35, I was going to stay home, horse show more. Obviously, Clay Logan's like my brother, and kind of I've come up with him when he first moved down here from Arizona. Clay was a horse trainer from Arizona, and he moved down here and moved in across the road from me, and he's who I owe as much of my steel roping to this day career too. I talk to him daily, whether it's why haven't you been winning, or tell me what you've been doing wrong, to anything, like I said, and from him moving down here, I went with him from the beginning, kind of to the horse shows a little bit as a young kid. I didn't rope much when I moved down here. I believe Clay moved down here probably when I was about 15 or 16. And I didn't rope very much then. I just started kind of back to where I roped, on a regular basis. I'd rope here and there, and I could swing a rope and do stuff like that. But when Clay moved down here, he started training horses, and had some of the most terrible horses you've ever seen in your life. And every day just showed up, and I thought, man, I don't know what, to this day people think, man, if horse training would be easy if you had horses like he gets an opportunity to ride, and the stuff he rode at first, is like, golly, what would make you want to come crawl on him every day? And so my horse, his horse show career started about the time, when I was younger there, and had a couple of nice horses start to come along that he did good on. So that's kind of what we've always planned on doing. We'll staying home, maybe horse showing more. Obviously, the fraternity deal, that's
it seems like it's perfect timing.
Yeah, it's
Holy
perfect
cow.
timing. And that's kind of what we thought we'd do. We thought we'd settle down. We built a house, thought we'd start settling down, and kind of had to come with after 2016. It came at a perfect timing. Like I said, I was born in, in 2016, I was 36 that year. That's my year to stay home and retire. And it was like the perfect setting. And in 2015, I was obviously the goal that drives me the most is trying to win the world. I don't know what happened. I could have been able to quit a little easier if I'd have won the world, with Synergy in 2015 type of a deal. I don't honestly know. But that's still a goal of mine out there, and it's kind of the part where I've worked my whole life trying to get decent. Finally got where I feel like I'm decent and have somewhat of a chance to win the world, and I hate to just sit home. That's what I've wanted to do as a kid. From the time I was, like I said, 16 on, that's kind of what you want to do. And so now you're in a spot where you're 35 and still have a chance kind of at a childhood dream. I hate to just sit at the house,
And so do it.
When you can still,
Walt Woodard's still
I'm telling you, Walt at 62 went in Houston. I don't know what that does for my career plans, but
that's what everybody said. It's like screwed up there.
Yeah,
the whole trajectory of everybody's life.
Yeah, I thought I'd have to quit way before then. My plan was my dad's rodeo career was going to outlast mine, and I was going to rodeo for a few years and be done. And it's kind of a lifestyle. It's something, like I said, that you prepare for, you build for. Like I said, my plan through our rodeo winnings and big jackpot winnings was we were going to build a facility, obviously, that we can stay home in school and do the horse training, program type of a thing. And that's kind of what we've always done. I've came home several times, and that's what we've done. We came home and schooled and did the horse training deal, and that was kind of what we thought we would, what I thought I would do, a couple years ago. So, like I said, the ERA came at a great time for me, thinking that was where it was. And then, last year we had a chance, and I thought, well, we might as well try it a little bit. And, now I finally I've been back and forth several times on whether we're going to, rodeo full-time, part-time, how half in, half out. The first time we made the NFR, we were essentially half in the year before and almost made it. And we were Jimmy and I was probably 3/4 of the way in the year we made the finals, and then stayed home. But when I roped with Brock in the year we made it, 2012, I guess, that was the first time I'd actually just went full tilt, and that was what we were going to do, was we were going to rope. And so that's kind of where I'm at again this year. That's kind of top priority a little bit, and we're going to give it another couple years and see what we get.
And now we're going to take a break from this conversation to learn a little bit more about our presenting sponsor, U.S. Rider. U.S. Rider is the premier equestrian roadside assistance program in the industry. Membership includes 24/7 nationwide roadside assistance coverage in any vehicle you are traveling in, as well as coverage for horse trailers, whether you have horses on board or not. In addition, members receive an extensive package of discounts on equine-related goods and services, regular equine travel and safety information, and insurance products to fit all of your needs as a horse owner or business. 2 levels of membership are available to meet the needs of all horse enthusiasts, owners, competitors, and business people. Coverage includes towing up to 100 miles for truck and or trailer, roadside repair service, tire repair and replacement, lockout service, jump starts and fuel delivery, emergency stabling, farrier and vet referral, and discounts on equine products and services. I want to tell you a little bit about that fuel delivery. My husband got his very first brand new pickup truck, and we were headed to Arizona from Colorado this winter, and he pushed the limit a little bit on that E, and we ran out of fuel in the mountains outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I tried the roadside assistance that was in the truck, built into the truck, and had no luck getting a hold of anybody to come out and bring us fuel. But I climbed to the top of a hill, got cell service, and called U.S. Rider. Their first question was, "Are you and your horses okay?" Absolutely, we were okay. We were just broke down and stuck. They sent somebody out within a half hour with 5 gallons of fuel, and that person followed us the whole way into Albuquerque to make sure we got a full tank of fuel to get on to our next destination. Guys, they are awesome. I have used them more than I would like to admit. So check it out at usrider.com and send us your feedback on it at the Team Roping Journal. We'd love to hear from you. They're a great product. Tell your friends about it, and thank you to US Rider for supporting the score. Go back to something you said. Did you listen to any of our podcasts? Have you listened to any of these?
No.
You didn't listen to Sinjini? Did anybody tell you what Sinjini said?
No.
He kind of gave us a play-by-play of the night he won the world, and like the heartbreaking moment of you guys running down the tunnel, and leave it to Brady to say, Motes, it wasn't you. Was that just soul crushing, or was that like? Was that like, oh, sorry, sucker? Like, I mean, tell me about that moment.
No, it was a different scenario. You know, the last one I've run at the NFR, you know, it was the same thing. We run the steer, leave out of there, watch the end of it on the telecast, you know, and going. It was a screwed up of 10th round as you could ever get.
Yeah.
We did not do good on the 9th round, and so we're kind of back a little bit, and we weren't what you'd say a favorite type of a deal going into the 10th round, and everybody's got their picks. And we had kind of figured it, and Synergy had asked me before we run our last one, and we said the same thing. You know, I said, well, I mean, all we can do is win the go round and see, you know, and if we won the go round, by the way we figured it, that would put us to the lead. Obviously, there's a million different scenarios. The 9th round kind of put us back in the average a little more than we probably needed to be. That was a year, obviously, JoJo had a really good chance. Kobe Level had a really good chance. And we got kind of, Colin wrote before we did that night, and he was in the same boat, Colin and Luke were. They weren't really who a person had talked about a lot as far as having a chance to win the world. And we didn't really forget about them, but, you know, as it plays on, we rope, and then the teams follow us, had a hiccup of some sort, and it kind of dropped it to a spot where, you know, as it turns up, you think we're still winning the round. We go to the lead in the round. That was all we could obviously do, and nobody beats us in the round. We moved up a spot or two in the average, which is what we knew if we had a chance, if we won the round and moved up 2 spots in the average, that was going to be, you know, nearly 40 grand that night, and that would put us to the lead. Anyhow, we get out back, you know, it was a different scenario. You know, we get out back, it falls the way it does, and we still don't know who has a chance. You know, and Rich and Clay was there, you know, and Jaden, and so to kind of have that, to me, that's what I've said it to this day. I mean, to have won the world that year, for Colin, that was the year. I mean, if there was a headliner of healers there that year, you know, in teams that year, that was a great year of teams and great team ropers that was all there. But no, it was different, and like I said, it kind of, I mean, it is what it is, I guess, but it's to the point where, you know, being that close is kind of what, you know, it was fine staying home after that, but that's what made me want to actually go try to pursue it a little more.
What did you do that night?
You know, I don't know what we did. You know, we celebrated a little bit. We went up top, Brady and Riley and I went to Mark Anderson's suite. You know, we watched Synergy get his world, you know, win the world, get his buckle, get the whole deal. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, it really was. And Colin's a great friend of mine to this day. So, I mean, I'm super, you know, happy for both of them. You know, we just did the normal deal. Synergy and I, you know, we went back over there, you know, to the MGM and hung out a little bit. And I mean, it was just the awkward thing is you were this close, you know, like you said, thought we'd won the world, starts you down the tunnel, and then you know, pretty exciting. You know, everybody's excited about the deal, and like I said, I don't know how close you can get to win the world, but we got halfway down to the interview and got half of us turned around.
Synergy said he described it as like one person's getting on the train and the other one's, the door is closed in front of their face, and he was just like saying his last goodbyes at that moment.
It was kind of like that, you know. You get done, and like I said, Clay and Jade, they take my, Garrett, we're waiting on Garrett to get back around there, and they take my horse, and they're kind of whisking us down the tunnel there. And it was, like I said, we got beat, or Colin beat me, by several $1,000s. So I don't think it's the closest loss there's ever been, but, heading down the tunnel was sure enough pretty close.
Oh. I know. I had the same feel, like, now that you're telling me the story, like, I had the same feeling when Synergy was giving me the blow-by-blow.
Yeah, no, like I said, I mean, that's obviously everybody's dream. It was kind of a real emotional 15 minutes there of from complete high emotions to something that you've wanted to accomplish since you was a kid to, obviously when you realize that's not the case, it was a, kind of hard to catch your breath for a little bit right there, and realize whether it's true or not. Obviously, I know there'd been, like you said, for Luke, had to have been the same way, out back there, like I said, when we went out back, how we'd figured, or how everybody had kind of thought was that we were the favorites, and Luke and them could have been in the same boat, and at that point, I don't know that, I know there had been split championships before, but I don't know whether two teams had, went the full route and kind of done it. So it was kind of different for Synergy and I roped all year, and Luke and Colin had roped all year. So, it just ended up where the numbers didn't line up.
I know when Caleb and Jade talk about their split title, or the title that they split, they said Caleb was running down the tunnel too.
Yeah.
And somebody grabbed him aside and said, "No, it wasn't you." Oh. I hate that. That is
kind of different, like I said, when we run Brock and I went into chance in the last round before, kind of in the same scenario, and it's kind of, even for Synergy and I that night, it was kind of an underdog type of scenario. Obviously, there was a lot of people that had a lot better chances going into it that it didn't work out for, and so, like I said, after the 8th round, it felt like it was a lock for us. There, on our team, there was no way they could beat us. And then, like I said, by the time the whole deal had washed up, it was what it was. It turned up good. Like I said, it didn't turn up the way I would have drawn it up.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. I was happy for both of them.
And what do you like roping now? Take us back to 2018. You and Brock, how'd the band get back together?
I didn't. Brock obviously has healed the last several years. Brock and I get along good. I feel like he's one of the best headers out there. And he's kiddingly asked me healing advice for several years now, and I told him that his healing sucks, so obviously it doesn't. But I told him he's a terrible healer. He's a better header. I roped with Tom. I roped with Synergy the first of last year. I roped with Tom Richards at the end of last year, and when
I thought you and Tom might stick it out. You guys roped great together.
I like Tom. I like Tom a lot. We're great friends. And that was kind of where it was. It was a hard decision. Obviously, Brock and I had really good chemistry when we roped together before. We practice a lot together. We've roped I've roped as many steers with him as I have anybody, even once he started healing. So it was kind of a deal where Brock had said something about he was gonna start heading. He was gonna maybe head again next year, and the instant he mentioned it to anybody, obviously the rumors went to Brock and I's roping again together, and we really hadn't even for sure discussed it. He told me he was going to head, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Tom and I roped really, really well together. I've never quit roping with anybody, I guess, that I was doing well with. And Tom and I were doing well. Obviously, he made the NFR and stuff like that. So it was a tough decision. Tom and I are still really good friends. I'm super happy about that.
Yeah, I can't see Tom ever staying mad at anybody. So
no, and Tom and I
can't even see him getting upset.
No,
so.
Tom. I had a blast when I roped with Tom. Like I said, it's kind of to the point where not that Tom and I wouldn't. I felt like for Brock and I to rope together, I felt like we had a chance. I'm to the spot where I could either retire or quit, or I'm getting old, So, not by Walt Woodard standards, but I'm kind of to the point where, You know, if I don't feel like I have a chance to dominate when I go somewhere, I don't really want to go or want to put in the work. Tom and I nominated really, really good. I just, you know, it kind of boiled down to the fact that Brock and I roped really, really good together. We always kind of have. We've jackpotted good together. We've rodeoed good together, and we get along great. Our styles kind of mesh a little bit. He can be aggressive or consistent, and I feel like that's what I can be. Obviously, Brock and I did really, really good together when we roped. And Synergy and I, it's kind of a similar type of a style. We can both be aggressive. We can both be consistent. And to me, whether, you know, the best teams in the world, whether it's Clay and Paul right now, you know, Clay and Jade for their dominance, they could both feed off each other. And that's kind of what I feel like we can do.
Good deal. Remember that time that we said you and Brock didn't have a chance at a world title? I have never forgotten that we ran a story in the magazine in the NFR preview that said you guys were the only team we called out as not having a chance.
Well, you were the only team we called out.
I know, it was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't mean it.
It was good.
It gave you
I
you guys
liked
won
it.
the first round or something that year, right?
And I totally credit that to you, Chelsea. I give you all credit for us winning we practiced so hard because when we read the article and it said that you said we had no chance.
And when you say you, I didn't write it. I did not write it. My very good boss, who was way better of a writer and knew way more about team roping than I did, wrote it. But I mean,
it was a true statement. I think
it was because it said that Brock was
a rookie. No, I think and that is a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard place, and it's a hard place to head.
He roped so good at the finals that year. Yeah, take it back.
It's no, it's a spot. Kids nowadays, they don't. I mean, Brock's not a kid by no means, but I mean, it's to the point now. There's so many guys that head good, and there's so many guys that heel good, and you know, everywhere you go, there's 18-year-old kids that rope. I roped terrible when I was 18, you know, and my rookie year I was 21, and I was not very good then either. I think I was a 6+, 7 maybe my rookie year. I mean, I think it was old numbers even then, but I was not very good, and I didn't know that much. There's kids now that's 14, 15 years old that go to the amateur rodeos. They know how to win before they ever buy their permit. You know, and Caleb Schmidt was one of them. I stayed home and roped with Caleb, you know, at the amateur rodeos when I wasn't rodeoing before Brock and I roped. And he was still in college, you know, and he hadn't, obviously, everybody.
I heard about him.
You know, he had his permit for several years there. He stayed in college the whole time. And when he bought his card, he was great, you know. And that's where his comparison to the tie-down roping and heading also. Yeah. But is where, I mean, there's kids nowadays that by the time they're 18, they rope great.
Yeah, like Chase is that Brent Hall.
Yeah, there's a whole flood of, and you know, there for a little while, it seemed like it took people a little longer to figure out the heading part and the scoring and everything else. And you know, Cody Snow come along a couple years ago. He's probably 4 years now. He's rodeoed, and he was kind of like, holy cow! How did, you know, Driggers did it first? Seemed like forever. It took everybody till they were 23 or 25 to figure out how to head. Driggers shows up and wins San Antonio as an 18-year-old kid, you know, and he had it, and he still does. Obviously, I mean, he heads great. And then it kind of waited, and then Cody Snow came, and now it seems like there's a floodgate of kids that can jackpot well and can bomb.
Why? Why do you think? Where did that come from?
I think just, you know, the amount of ropings. I think they go to the ropings all the time. They figure out how to win. To me, that's why I said, if you can progress through the roping, when you figure out how to win and how to not pressure up and take that, I think that makes a big difference. I think they have figured out, you know, to amateur rodeo a litlittle bit and go to the circuit rodeos and stuff like that, or amateur rodeos around there before they're quite 18. But I mean, there's 4 18-year-old kids that head really good. You know, Jeff Flanagan's, he's been heading really good. Brenton Hall has headed really, really good. Stephen Doobie has headed really, really good.
Is Stephen Doobie only 18? I've never met him.
I don't know. They all have to be 18, 19 years old. I roped with Laramie Allen last week, kid from down here in Texas. I seen him at the
His name's everywhere.
Seen him at the amateur rodeos a couple years ago. There's a floodgate of kids, and it's like, holy cow!
That's such good news for the sport.
Yeah, it's amazing news, and it seemed like for a long time that there was a lot of, whether it was flashy or I don't know what it was, but I had it all through college and stuff. But it seemed like nobody healed, so that was why I healed. Well, it almost seemed like it went the other way. And for a long time, you always hear about these young kids that heal good coming up, and young kids, and nobody really, that was a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid. It's like, listen, look how good he heads. It's like if they figured out how to head at that young, they wanted to kind of transition to the healing. But now there's been a lot of them. There's a whole lot of kids. There's a lot of kids that heal good too.
Hey, before you go, leave us a rating on iTunes. Leave us a review. Let the world know what you think. That helps more people find us on iTunes. And give us a shout out. Share it with your friends so more people can know about the score, can talk teen roping, and hopefully help push this industry even further forward. Thank you all.